Hey guys, Timothy Roberts here. This is part 2 of our sound perspective video. This time we're going to deal with bigger, deeper sounding, lower tuned drums, and we're going to talk about another aspect of this whole perspective thing that we didn't address in the first video. So in the first part of this series, I dealt with drums that were much smaller and they were tuned much higher. And the effect that this had was that even over the course of distance with the mics that were 25 feet in front, you still maintained a good sense of tone with the drums. And if you listen back really carefully to those two clips, what you'll notice is the sound from behind and the sound in front. The way they differ is that the one that has the distance in front of it, the mics that are 25 feet in front, feel a lot more squashed. They feel a lot thinner, a lot more shallow. So a lot of that tone and resonance that we hear from behind the kit gets lost even with just 25 feet in front of the drums. And so now we're going to be dealing with big, deep drums. These things are tuned low. They have tons of warm tone when you're sitting right behind the kit, but the effect over the course of that 25 feet is going to be accentuated greatly. We're going to lose a lot of that tone and they're going to feel really sharp, and there's going to be a ton of attack, but we're not going to be able to really hear the body of the sound. And so first off, what we're going to do is I'm going to play this kit with the close mics that we have set up. And this is going to give you a feel for more of like a studio sound that this kit can have. Then what we're going to do is we're going to strike these mics, go back to the listener perspective, or rather drummer perspective mic placement behind me. And then we're going to play those and you'll hear a little bit of a difference. It's not going to be quite as full of tone, but it'll still be there. And then we're going to go to the 25 feet out in front of the kit. And again, just pay attention to the attack and the body of the sound and just how that changes. So another part of this discussion that's important to note is that these toms have no muffling on them whatsoever. They're wide open and there's a lot of ring happening from where I'm sitting. When you have more overtones coming from the drum out in front, it's going to feel a little bit more full. We know that regardless of what we do to the drum kit, as we get farther away from it, the sound is going to feel thinner. It's going to have less low end. It's going to feel more squashed. And so if there's a lot of wash in the cymbals, that's going to kind of get squashed and it might overtake the stick. There's not going to be a lot of high fidelity sound happening where you can hear the lows, you can hear the highs, you can hear the mids. And so if we're going to go about wanting to muffle our drums so that what we hear is this really dry, dead sound, we need to take into account the fact that as we get away from the drums, they're going to feel even more choked and even more squashed in the sound. And sometimes it can even sound like you're hitting cardboard if you have the drums tuned so low that you're not getting any body from it. So It's not a problem if you're close miking the drums like we are, but if we're dealing with a situation where we want the drums to translate out in a live setting, we want them to feel full, big, we want them to have a lot of punch, we might want to think about possibly leaving them wide open. You might have to get used to the sound of that ring and that decay and having to deal with even faster patterns that you're playing and that decay kind of getting in the way of what you're doing. It's something to get used to for sure, but it's all part of mixing yourself and creating a cohesive sound that you can translate through either mics that are close or in an outdoor venue where you're playing for people that are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 feet away from the band. All right, so let me know what you think in the comments below. To me, the lower tuned drums is a much more drastic example of the difference of sound perspective and where you're listening to the sound source. If you're sitting behind the drums, these low tuned drums just feel super big and full and awesome. But out in front, they feel kind of thin and they lose a lot of that body that they have right up on top of the drums. So drop a comment below and let me know what you think about this. Have you ever thought of your drum sound in this manner? And please hit the subscribe button and the bell if you haven't already, and keep an eye out for the next video. Thanks, guys.